Hello, hello, comic book friends. It is Sleepy Reader, aka Damien, and it's yet another comic book countdown. I have 12 comics that I got this past Wednesday. Well, I bought them on Thursday, and actually some on Saturday, but because I picked up a few extra at Floating World. But I managed to read all 12 pretty quickly, so that was a good sign. They were all good, fun reads, I guess. Um, there is one that I think I'm going to drop. So I will subjectively rank them from number 12 down to number one being the one that I enjoyed the most. I don't know if there was any pattern this time, except they were all kind of quick reads in a good way. Um, I am about to fly out to the East Coast. So I'm shooting this in Portland, but by the time I edit it, I'll be on another coast. So I was happy that I managed to read the comics so quickly, so I can throw together the pieces of the video and then edit them in Connecticut. And I'm looking forward to seeing good old Higgy Pop. So my least favorite book was Exquisite Corpses #2, and I think a couple of things came together. I in the last video I mentioned that I wasn't too thrilled by the bloodiness of this cover. It just didn't. It's the opposite of fun for me. And the first issue had kind of a cool structure, and so I was a little intrigued, although about what was going on. But the second issue, which I think is it says written by Michael Walsh with James Tinian, and art by Mariana Ignazi with Michael Walsh, and then colors by Jordi Belair. Um, I think the writing felt less, more discombobulated. Like there were things that, maybe partially it was because I didn't 100% remember characters from the previous issue, but it felt like there were things taken for granted by the writer that I needed to be fed a little more about the characters and their interactions, um, to make me care. Like I just sort of was like, eh. And then there was a discombobulation of the general, the pacing and the organizing of things just didn't have that je ne sais quoi that makes things really click. And then I wasn't, and then the art seemed to step down from the Michael Walsh art from before. It was passable art, but sort of all those things together, and the fact that I'm just not feeling there was some. They weren't visually very gory, but they were just unpleasant sequences, and I can just expect a whole lot more of unpleasant sequences from this, along with the evil families that rule America kind of stuff. I'm just not in the mood for it. So I think this will be the one comic I drop. Absolute Flash, I'm putting in at number 11. I think mostly because of the art. The I really like the art in the first three issues. This is number 4, and I hope this is just a fill-in artist for a brief while because the art just didn't click for me. Um, and it kind of, to go along with the feeling of a fill-in artist, it felt like things weren't advanced very much during the course of this issue either. Um, there was some advancement, but I don't know. It just felt like a lesser issue. But I'm still gonna keep with the Absolute Flash for now. And hopefully the other artist will come back. What was his name? I think he still did the cover. Although, and I'm not crazy about that cover. Where's the credits? Of course, they're not convenient. Are they at the end? Yes, they're at the end. Um, so Nick Robles, I think he did this cover, and I think he was the artist on the previous issues. New Gods #7. Actually, I'm wavering on whether to keep with this. I was getting excited with issue #6, but I just felt not very connected to the story. It feels it feels out of focus to me somehow. The art's pretty cool. The coloring's kind of sometimes cool, sometimes a little too faded looking. I mean, that's its style, I guess, the faded coloring. Colorist Francisco Segala. Um, I'm starting to wonder if I just am not thrilled by Ram V books when they are DC books, when he's doing superheroes. Well, I'll probably give it a few more issues. And I guess I've decided to give it, this is Bug Wars number 5. I guess I've decided which Bug Wars number 5. Sorry, New Gods was in at 10. Bug Wars number 5 is in at 9. Um, the art, I'm really enjoying the art. Um, and that's carrying me quite a bit. And I don't, it is an adventure story with bugs, so things are kind of gross, but it feels at times, again, there's some just certain hard to put your finger on thing that just is not making me as into this story as I am to the normally to an adventure story, and of a sort of swords and sorceries or bugs and axes kind of story here. Um, but I don't know. I'm sort of thinking I it's supposed to, the next issue is supposed to be the end of an arc, but I have a feeling the story's going to go on for quite a while beyond that first arc. What does it say? Book 1, Lost in the Yard. So it's the end of the next issue is the end of book 1. Um, anyway, and that's a pretty cool cover. Uh, but Jason Aaron's story, I think he just wants everything to be too, again, kind of like my reaction to the horror books. He just wants everything to be awful, and there's no good side to things. And you know what? That was a theme to much of what I read this week. Is it all was kind of dark and dour, and one of the darkest was A Vanishing Point by um, Mark Russell. And I kind of half jokingly but half seriously on in the comments of another video mentioned that I thought that Mark Russell was kind of like a genre unto himself. You buy Mark Russell books because they are Mark Russell books, not because they're superhero books or horror books or for Flintstones books. And as you can see, this one plays off of the Jetsons, but behind it is just an unrelentingly grim story with that my favorite um, Mark Russell books point out the foibles of human nature and civilization and all the things we've built up, while also having some warmth for the characters and some good humored kind of love for these us failed or flawed human beings. And this just ends on such a everything is doomed kind of note. And that was kind of how the way the first issue of Vanishing Point was. But each issue of Vanishing Point is a different short story with a different artist and Mark Russell. So I still look forward to see what he'll do next. And it was kind of cool to have the Jetsons in here. I wish the artwork was even closer to the way the Jetsons looked. Um, it reminded me of some other cartoon, the way the art looked. I think Steven Universe or something like that. So it was a little weird to see the Jetsons drawn as Steven Universe. But other than that, I enjoyed all the Jetsons parts while slowly realizing how dark it was all going. I won't say exactly why or what, because you might want to read it. I went ahead and read Copra number 50, and I put it at number 7. Vanishing Point was number 8 in my little list. I kind of enjoyed it, or I did enjoy it, even though I haven't read the last few issues before this. I've always had trouble keeping track of all the Capra characters. This issue 50 comes after the death of Capra, so I think Capra is going to be defeated. And all of this is a coda for several of the characters, and they have little monologues that kind of talk and or show their point of view or where they end up in the end. And I kind of liked it. And it might, it literally reading this out of order might help me understand who all the characters are more easily when I go back and read the whole Death of Capra together. The art was more subdued, less wow moments than Michel Fiffe or Michael Fife. gives us in the average issue of Copra, but it fit the whole coda kind of thing, and in a more mellow kind of book, I really appreciated his ways of using color. I thought it was very cool, and I love this wraparound cover. So I think Copra goes out strongly. If I had, if I really, in a way, I should go back and read all 50 Copra issues, because it just, to an extent, even though it's in one way a straightforward superhero story or kind of a anti-hero story, it has so many characters and it's told in kind of an unusual way that I easily have lost track of things, while always just sort of enjoying the wacky, unusual, yet referential artwork throughout. In at number 6, for me, was The Cold Witch, issue 2, A Tale of the Shrouded College. There was quite a bit of cool art and color in here, and a lot of intense beats or scenes. Um, but I was a little, I might have ranked it even higher if I was able to track it all. Like, some stuff was flashbacks and some wasn't. And I again, kind of my own flaw, I should have reread issue 1. It probably would have helped me track which is what. But if Charles Soule gave us just a little more information, I'm used to Charles Soule not letting me down on that front. But it felt disjointed because there were just a few things I wasn't sure of. But overall, very cool. Um, I definitely need to go back. It's definitely going to be something that when all 5 issues come out, I'll reread the whole thing. And this one, I heard someone on YouTube talking about it. Might have been Rock and Robbie saying, or maybe several people, and someone said that this Benjamin is based on Philip K. Dick, and that's 100% true. So this writer named Benjamin wakes up in a dumpy motel, with no memory of how he got there, and he's 20 years in the future or 30 years in the future. And he's a real jerk, but he's the writer of all these famous crazy science fiction novels from the 60s and 70s. And he's befriended he doesn't really deserve the friendship, but he's befriended by a guy whose father used to love his novels. And it was fun to read. I wish, because I liked Philip K. Dick, I wish the personality of the stand-in for Philip K. Dick were a little bit more likable. But other than that, it was very cool. We get some of the names of his books: The Nine Migrations of Melvin X. Tigrit, Beef's Grief, Deep Space is Not for the Tender, Farnsworth's 40-foot super bomb, Benjamin L. Carp. Oh, that's his name, Benjamin L. Carp. Everything Changed on a Thursday. Anyway, it's a lot of fun. I'm definitely hooked. It had an interesting twist right on the last page. So, so I'm looking forward to more. I'll have to add this to my pull list. It's from Oni. Is it expensive? It probably is. It's $6. Wow. But I think I'll go ahead and do it. In at number 4 was Crypto. This is one of the ones I bought when I was just wandering past the Floating World comic book store. I did also buy some weird indie books, but I'll cover those later. Um, I I wasn't expecting to enjoy this as much as I did, and a lot of it was because of the art. It probably has my favorite cover of the week, by Jay Lee. And the interior art isn't at all in this style, but it's in an extremely pleasing style, by Mike Norton. And I guess I've enjoyed Mike Norton art in the past, but in my memory, this is the very best Mike Norton I've ever seen, and I really enjoyed the look of Krypton and the rocket ships, and the drawings of the dog were just exceptional. They were perfect. And there was a kind of twist on the last page, which really did surprise me, because as I was reading, I was thinking, well, this is all enjoyable, but we know the whole story. We know Crypto and Superboy and all of that. Um, but there's a new twist, and it might prove to be an interesting one. This is written by Ryan North, who's often a very unique writer, and so I'm very excited about this, and it's definitely going on my pull list. I don't know how many issues there's going to be, but I assume it's a 4 to 6 issue miniseries. Um, the one thing that jumped out at me is that when they were feeding Crypto his dog food, it looked exactly like dog food bowls on Earth, and everything else had a nice Kryptonian look. But well, actually, now that I look at the kitchen here, um, anyway, for the most part, it didn't seem like we're on Earth. But when I saw those dog bowls, I was like, those are Earth dog bowls. In at number 3, another comic I really enjoyed a lot, Los Monsteros by James Robinson and Jesus Marino and other people. Some of the art is very, very good. Other part pages just do the job, but I'm really enjoying the story. Um, I guess a noir detective story with the right little twist is enough to get me very happy again. And James Robinson is just doing it well. If you're tired of noir detective stories and you don't care if it's set with monsters, that's not good enough for you, then you won't like this book. But if that sounds good to you, this is a lot of fun. Um, Someone compared it to the first arc of Fables, with the wolf detective, and I guess there is some similarity there. And our hero is a werewolf, so perhaps there's influence there. Um, we get introduced to more characters, and they're all sort of interesting and dark. And so, anyway, really pleased with Los Monstros. I already added that to my pull list. Okay, and this is issue 4 of the current Usagi Yojimbo miniseries, but it's really the first issue of a 2 issue story called Tabo. And Usagi and his cousin enter a village that is near a shrine with a statue of Buddha that's supposed to heal people. So the village is very busy, full of people who want to be healed. And there are Christians who also want to be healed and think of the Buddha as being part of their religion. Um, but Christians are illegal in Japan at this time. And so Usagi and his cousin end up kind of helping out some Christians, but it's kind of dicey, and I'll be interested to see where it all goes um, in the next issue. There's quite a few interesting characters that have joined Usagi and his cousin during just the course of this issue. So yeah, I really am curious to see how Stan Sakai will pull it off, and I really almost it was so hard to put this at number 2 and not number 1. I do have to say something was looking off about the artwork. It was almost like were the wrong computer files used. The color just didn't pop the way it usually does, and the line work felt flatter or something. I don't know what it is. It just didn't feel quite right. Some of the panels look really good, but others just don't. Um, the coloring is by Emi Fuji, who's done fantastic work with Stan Sakai before. So I'm not sure about that. The cover color is great, but it's not that way on the inside at times. So I'm not sure what's up with that. But I had to put Batman and Robin Year One at my number 1 position. I don't love this cover, but I do now notice I didn't see before the Batman and Robin in the kind of shadow over this guy's eyes. That image just doesn't, it's just a little image trick that doesn't work for me, but all the art on the inside, I just I just love it. And Chris Samney kind of playing, as we've said before, playing with the David Mazzucchelli artwork and um, making it his own, but it's really pleasing the way it all works together. I really like the way they've used Clayface, and yeah, and I think too. The weird thing is, I think Two Face is in here too, but maybe not. I may have it confused with something else that I was watching recently. Anyway, loving the art, and it's a very good story, but I think it is such good art that that's what propels it to my being my favorite book. But Mark Waid is doing a really good job with this. It did occur to me while reading this that the whole year one kind of thing that Frank Miller originally did, and they're trying to sort of homage and expand upon, uh, made Batman feel more real, made it feel like this is how it could really be. But when you add in Robin and Child Services is asking questions about it, and just all the situations they get into, it's a little harder. There's some you can't do Robin 100% realistically, um, unless you want to call it child abuse and have it end badly. But they're obviously not going to do that there. So there is still, you know, in the grittiness, there's a lightness. There's the Robin, and you're just going to have to accept that part, which I can do. But it just popped into my head while watching this one, because Robin is very boyish in here, even though he's very smart and an incredible acrobat. So anyway, both main creators on here are doing a fantastic job. Who's the colorist? Because the color is great too. Matthew Lopez, Matthias Lopez, or Matthias Lopes. I don't know. So yeah, really, really kind of a strong week for me. There's a few books that I haven't read yet, like Flash Gordon, because I need to catch up on that. And I did get the latest Detective Comics, and I forgot to read that. I got lost, and I just ran across it. I was putting together my list, and I didn't have time to read it. So in 20 minutes, I'm going to drive off to the airport, and yeah, I think you'll see two videos from me that I've shot here in Portland that I will edit together on the East Coast. And I may or may not do other videos while I'm on my vacation, my 2-week vacation. So, hope everyone's having a great comic book week, and I'll talk to y'all soon, sooner or later.